Hi and welcome to Leitrim Daily. My name is Brett Nearly and you're listening to In Focus here on the podcast. Today's episode is brought to you in association with James McDowell Fitness and Health. And today we're talking about something that affects a growing number of people across the county and the country. We're going to talk about cystic fibrosis, and in particular we're going to talk about the Malin2Mizen for CF cycle that's taking place in May. We're talking about an event that's taken place on the 22nd of February. It's taken place in Carthy's Bar in Leitrim Village, and it's been organised by Ken and Cormac Doonan, two participants on this year's cycle. They join me now, Ken Cormac and Caroline Heffernan of the Cystic Fibrosis Association. You might give us the proper title for...
Yeah, I'm patient advocate with Cystic Fibrosis Ireland.
Excellent. So Ken Cormac's with us as well, but he's a little bit shy, so we're going to leave him in the background for now. Ken, welcome to the programme, and Caroline, welcome to the programme.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
You're more than welcome. We might start, Ken, initially with yourself before we get on to Caroline. Let's talk about the cycle itself and this event that's happening on Saturday. Briefly, we'll come back to it in a bit more detail later in the programme.
Yeah, it's a cycle from Malin Head to Mizen Head. Malin Head being the most northerly point, Mizen Head most southerly point, over 4 days, 640 kilometres for one cause. It's a tough event. It is hard work, but it's rewarding. It's well worth it.
So it's 100 miles or 160 kilometres a day for 4 days.
Yeah, it is.
Now, see, I think that's kind of relatively normal, but then I have a slightly different background to most people. That's a big, big challenge.
It is a challenge, but it is very doable. It's you're not doing it on your own. It's a group cycle, so it's a group effort, and it's.
Oh, so you have a van beside you carrying all your stuff and stuff. That's cheating, that is. No, on a real basis, it's a fair challenge. Why are you involved in this?
Yeah, I have a cousin with CF, and he's the same age as myself, and that's what. It being in the family, it would be something that you would be aware of, and I had done the Wicklow 200, and I was kind of looking for another challenge, and got introduced to the Malin2Mizen, and I thought, yeah, why not? It's a challenge, but you're also raising money for a very deserving charity, and that's what brought me to it.
Well, let's talk about the charity for a moment, because Caroline, you are with the charity. Tell us a bit about the role and the organisation that you are involved in.
Yeah, so I'm patient advocate with Cystic Fibrosis Ireland, and my job basically entails supporting families from when they get that diagnosis from the heel prick test right through life. So it would be preschool into school, and there's different complications all through life, into second and third level education, into employment. So I'm a little bit of jack of all trades and maybe the master of my CF myself, but I support the families in everything they need to do. Unfortunately, CF is incurable, and we do have many people that have to go for a double lung transplant. So I help them through that journey as well. Not having the personal experience of transplant, I would put them in touch with our members that actually have been there, done that, and literally wore the T-shirt. So we're there as a support. We offer many grants to our members. So we work in advocacy, so we advocate for our patients to the government, for buildings, for clinics, for hospital beds, and people will be aware of the new drugs for CF, which are basically changing the face of cystic fibrosis. Some of the grants that we give out would be, actually, it's ironic, the cycle will raise money for the exercise grant. And even though you think of people that with CF would have reduced lung function, exercise is hugely important right up until transplant, because you actually have to have a certain level of muscle density when you are going through such a big surgery. So it really is good that the lads and myself and everyone else that's taken part in the cycle will be contributing to people with CF for the exercise grant. But we also have fertility grants, because our males, females are infertile. Well, our males are 90% infertile, our females do need some assistance. And there's, unfortunately, we still have to give out bereavement grants, because we do still lose people with CF.
In terms of what CF looks like, you mentioned that you have CF yourself.
Yeah.
What does CF look like at the various stages of life?
Yeah, so it varies, and thankfully it's changed an awful lot. So I'm a 1970s baby, so a lot of my friends and peers unfortunately are no longer with us, but I was very lucky to get one of the drugs 4 or 5 years ago, which meant that I was able to participate again in life events. But for me this morning, I suppose it's different for everyone, but if I give you my example, so this morning before I came down to visit you guys, I had a half an hour of nebulizers. So when I woke up this morning, it felt like there was like a heavy weight on my chest, and I needed to take nebulizers to open my airways so that I could breathe more freely. And then I actually had to do some physio, which took another 10-15 minutes. And then I had to take nebulized antibiotics just to make sure, which are preventers, and they just keep the growth of the bugs in my lungs at bay. That's when I'm well. And the cycle actually is a really good physio for me, so I actually get more benefit from cycling than I do kind of from my normal routine physio, because you're out in the fresh air, obviously. And I'd have to do that again at night time. But for me, as it stands, once I've my hour done in the morning, I kind of live life as normal. I work from home majority of the time, so I can go about my normal day. And I would do the same thing again at night. It would be another hour of between nebs and physio if I haven't had my cycle during the day.
That sounds pretty draining every single day.
Do you know what? This is good. Before I got the drug I was talking about, Kaleido, I was actually doing 4 hours. And then people were going, where do you get time to do the training? But what I've actually done is the 4 hours I was doing just to breathe, I actually, because now my lung function is a little bit better, I've actually put that time into exercise, which realistically still is treatment for me, but it's a more enjoyable treatment because I get to meet the likes of these guys on cycles.
In terms of, you mentioned about being a 70s baby and the fact that a lot of the fellow sufferers aren't around to tell their story now. The life expectancy, how has that changed in your lifetime?
Oh, hugely. My parents were actually told that, I was a late diagnosis at 13, which was very unusual at that time. But my mum and dad were told that I wouldn't live to be 20. And they actually have a great-grandchild now, because I'm a granny, which is very unusual as well for someone with CF. Whereas now children are born, and within the early years, they're being put on these new drugs, and their life expectancy is much greater. I mean, it is into their 40s and 50s.
Excellent. Well, that's positive news.
Absolutely.
Let's go back to the fundraiser next week in Carthy's bar. Is there any entertainment happening on the night?
Yeah, we have Cormac here in the band.
Yeah, so myself...
Welcome to the show, Cormac.
Oh, thank you very much. I wasn't shy for that.
You've gotten through that stage fright
yeah.
to tell us about the entertainment of the night, which is going to be yourself and some of your mates.
Yeah, it's myself and my bandmates. We play in a band called Bite the Bullet. We play sort of regularly in Carthy's, and David is kind enough to sort of help us host this event. So a big thank you to him, and a big thank you to my bandmates who are facilitating this as well. Myself and Ken, we're going to be there on the night, sort of trying to work the room, and hopefully it will be an enjoyable night for everyone. So the music will be kicking off around 10 o'clock, but come as early as you like. There's going to be food and hopefully lots of fun on the night.
And is there a draw, or how can people actually contribute on the night?
Oh yeah, we're hoping to have a raffle, and we'll have plenty of buckets that if people feel generous, they can certainly help us out.
And also, if people can't make it, they can send on donations,
Oh yeah, we can be found online on everydayhero.ie. My name, Ken Doonan, or Cormac Doonan. I can be found on Instagram or Facebook, and the link is there as well, if anyone wishes to donate.
What is to come back to you, Caroline, again, and we'll include all those links in the description of the podcast as well, so people will be able to get it on our website, just direct links to all of those different places, and I'm sure people will contribute. But Caroline, what's that like locally here in the region? How many sufferers are in County Leitrim in terms of CF, or are we aware of that?
I would have had the figure, unfortunately. I didn't get to my computer this morning, so I am going to apologise. But in Ireland, there is 1,300 people with CF, and I suppose the good news, I spoke about the new drugs for CF. The balance has shifted, so CF was always known as a childhood illness, but now it's actually shifted so that we actually have more adults with CF than we have children. I think it's 54% now are adults over the age of 18, which is phenomenal. It's really, really good.
Is that down to people living longer?
It's down to people living longer, so it's down to a number of things. It's down to the fact that we have better clinic We've better facilities, so we have less cross-infection when people go into hospital. We have phenomenal medical teams around the country, and people are very much more aware of their treatments, and the treatments are better. I mean, they've improved considerably in my lifetime. I mean, we're so close. I mean, the new drugs are very much, they're not a cure, but they're making the faulty gene actually work correctly, which is really good.
In terms of the actual cycle in May, Malin2Mizen, it's the 5th or 6th time you've done the event?
Yeah, it will be I've done it 2.5 times, I suppose. It sounds a bit weird.
Okay, this needs to be probed a little bit. 2.5 times,
okay.
How does that work?
So in October 16...
Just one leg?
Yeah, one leg, not quite. In October 16, I got the new drug, which was Kalydeco, on a trial basis for a year. And at that stage, it wasn't for my genetic type. So I knew I had 1 year. So with that year, I said I have to do something, really to prove to myself that, life was back on track. Because before that, I was down at 40% lung function, which isn't a nice place to be. You can't walk up the stairs or anything. Watches in your face. So what I did was, I'm a firm believer that if you want to do something, there's always a way around it, even if you can't do it maybe necessarily the first way you choose. So I actually asked 2 friends if they would do it on a tandem with me. So the first year I did it on a tandem. So I did the whole lot, but it was on a tandem. So I had support of strong.
That counts as a full go.
Yeah,
if you said you were in the car, that would be
no. I leave the car work to my husband. Yeah. So we did it on a tandem, which was fantastic. The second year,
it's actually harder on the tandem.
It is. Well, going up hills definitely is, and the chain came off the bottom of the hill in Letterkenny, the bottom of the hill. Off the roundabout, and trying to get back on a tandem on the bottom of a hill is not
That's pretty
fun.
steep. Just up there from the roundabout, right up into the middle of the town.
Yeah. And the person behind us in the car skitting, laughing and taking pictures. It's not a good...
Well, that's what they have to do. It's
it
job
is. That's true, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely. So do you take the same route every time?
Yeah, we do the same route.
Does it not get very samey, very familiar?
With
oh, God, no.
640 kilometres, you don't remember the whole lot.
You actually try and forget. You do.
I think it's
the closest thing these lads are ever going to get to childbirth, because they're doing it and you get to the end and you're elated and they're coming back to do it again. I mean, no one in their right mind would do it, really.
Now, this episode is brought to you in association with James McDowell Fitness, based in Train and Gain in the Mulvey Centre in Courtubber in Carrigallen. And for the last 5 years, James has been helping ladies to get strong and confident with one-to-one personal training, nutrition, workouts and advice, as well as a complete online coaching program. He is perfectly suited for beginners and experienced gym users alike. James is set up perfectly for empowering busy family women to lose fat and gain confidence and maybe get out and get active. As regular listeners to the show will be aware, I spent a while in the gym with James before Christmas, as with one of our listeners, Helena, who went on to lose a phenomenal 2.5 stone with James over 12 weeks. Well worth checking out if you want to have a look at whatever James is doing. It's jamesmcdowell.ie, and as I said, you can catch him in Train and Gain at the Mulvey Centre, but look up his website and get in touch. I have no doubt that he'll be able to help you achieve your goals of losing weight and gaining some self-confidence. Thank you very much, James, for your continued support of the show. It is greatly appreciated. Now, I have to ask now, I might alienate some of the listeners for the next 5 or 10 minutes because I know a bit of that route.
Yeah.
So, do you do Manmore Gap when you're coming down from Malin Head down towards Letterkenny?
Barnmore, yeah, but not Manmore. No, it's further west.
Okay, so you don't have massive, ridiculous climbs on this.
Well, no.
You pick the flattest
They feel
route
it.
possible.
They do feel like it, but you can't really boast the cyclists too early. You have to give them some hope.
Because that'd be like the first morning. We'll be coming out there, just going straight up.
Yeah. I mean, you do, is it 155 kilometres the first day and you still haven't left Donegal?
Yeah.
The first day is Malin to Bundoran. And it's only when you've cycled that you realise Donegal is a big county. But there is one. There's one decent climb at the beginning, but it's manageable. No, but to answer your question, no, but we don't do Manmore Gap.
So what route do you come down?
It's Carrigallen down to Letterkenny.
Oh, you come down the east side of the peninsula rather than
exactly.
The west side has one lovely climb on it.
It does, yeah.
Yeah.
And then from Letterkenny is basically...
You're definitely not getting over in a tandem, that's all I'm saying.
Yeah, there you go.
It's basically main road the whole way from Letterkenny then to Donegal town.
And so you have support vehicles with the
Yeah,
kind of flashing lights and...
Yeah, the logistics are getting... It's limited to 40 cyclists. We are still looking for more cyclists. Its registration is open until the 31st this month. You can find the link on...
You might be interested.
CF Ireland. CF Ireland's website has the link.
So I might be interested. No, my cycling days are long behind me at this stage.
The logistics are getting 40 people from the top of the country to the bottom on live roads. Like, the roads aren't closed. So we generally split it into 3 groups. So you would have a lead car and a car behind you, because you do have to remember you can't really antagonise other road users, and we do have bike marshals, so it's well policed, well maintained, and we're well looked after. But yeah, we are split into 3 groups. You're not going to be held up behind 40 cyclists.
So the 3 groups, you're going to kind of your professional cyclists, we call them, at the front.
Elites, as they're known.
Yeah, who want to be like, I want to win, even though it's not a race. They want to be the winner. And then you've got the people hanging on the back on the tandem, for example, out the back.
Yeah, you have.
Which group would you be in yourselves?
Well, actually, when I was on the tandem, we were in the fast group most of the time, because I was clever. I had very strong cyclists with
good
me.
Pilot. Yeah, absolutely.
I had a good pilot. So the average speed, the first group were kind of averaging 30, 31. The second group were 27, 29. And then the sexy crew, because I'm having no one call me a slow girl, is 24 to 25, or 23 to 25.
That's still pretty quick.
Yeah.
They're all quicker than I would have been on my cycle. Significantly.
It's all about getting there at the end of the day.
That is true.
You know,
But we're doing 640, not 30,000.
Yeah, but I didn't do much more than that in a day on my long days.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's neither here nor there. This isn't about me. This is about yourselves. Now, we've met before, Cormac.
Right, yeah.
We had a conversation or two over, well, it wasn't a beer in my case, but in a drink or two after a gig you played in Carthy's a couple of years ago. And you came in here and said something was my fault. I'm not responsible for this, am I?
Yeah, so basically I went to play a gig one night and finished the gig, and then was sipping on a Coke, I think, and some strange man came over to the table.
Very strange man.
With a deck of cards.
I don't remember.
And just started doing magic tricks. And then we just got talking, and started another, I suppose, totally different topic. Was we started talking about depression and this, that and the other. And then you mentioned your Around the World cycle. I mentioned it to Ken. He bought the book. And
where did you get the book? I want to see if I got the royalties yet.
I got it online. I can't remember. I think it was Amazon.
Oh, then I sent it to you.
Yeah. So basically, it just was an inspiring story, and like that, I just needed something to get myself up and going, and decided to do this with this man's pressure, and basically got through it last year with a major amount of ignorance.
It helps.
Yeah.
It really does help.
And Caroline, yes.
Banana
bread, yeah. It all helps. And basically finished it, and like Caroline was saying, was elated, forgot about the pain within a week, and then decided I was going to do it again. So here we are.
You do tend to forget about the pain of going up those hills in the cold and wet and rain.
You do. Well, to be fair, Cormac's not quite telling the whole story. I've always been cycling. And then things like getting married and jobs and children take up your time, as they should. So got back into cycling. Most of our cycling was done either on my own or with Cormac. And we were building up to do the Wicklow 200, as I said. And we were somewhere between Killashandra and Arva. And I said to Cormac, what are we going to do after the Wicklow 200? Like, when it's done, you have to have something to aim for. And I suggested, I seen online, there's various reasons why people do Malin2Mizen. It was immediately dismissed, just offhand. Cormac says, no, you're nuts. So it was October. I
know a longer one, Cormac. We'll come back to that in a minute.
It was October 2018. We were at a family wedding, and I said to Cormac, I have something to tell you.
You've signed him up?
I've signed, no, not quite. I said, I've signed up for Cystic Fibrosis, Malin2Mizen. And when he realised what I was saying, he says, you're not right in the head. It was about an hour later when he said, send me on the link to that.
Well done.
I'm going to sign up. And he did. And we did it. And it was the
Always
last...
do sober what you said you do drunk, right? Isn't that the trick?
Well, yeah.
Absolutely. Very important.
When you cycle with someone, you tend to know little things like when they stop talking. You know they're under pressure.
They're gassed, yeah.
Or, yeah, exactly. And I was coming past Cormac, we were on a climb, and I looked over.
Oh, yeah, rub that in, Cormac. Yeah, that's lovely.
Well, no, it was just the way it was. And I looked over and I said, well, are you signing up for next year? And he said, yeah. And I thought, well, we haven't killed him yet, so he...
Yeah, that was it, yeah.
Isn't that the truth?
That's the truth.
And he did sign up.
Is it the same crew that keep coming back year after year, or is it a little clique that kind of developed into itself?
No, we have a few that come back, or you come back every other year, because it is very hard to raise the money. So, I mean, the lads do need as much support as they can. We do ask each cyclist if they can raise 2,000, and that covers all of their expenses for the 4 days. It is hard to go back to the same pot for fundraising. So, every other year, or thankfully the lads are coming back this year as well, which is great. So, but we will have lots of new cyclists as well. Yeah.
Let's talk about the impact that this event has on the work that's done by the organisation. What is the real impact of the funds raised from this?
It basically helps every family with CF. So, as I said, there's different grants. So for our lads, just for argument's sake, who are infertile, we give a fertility grant. So for them, Spectrum is our magazine that we have. And if you looked at the Christmas edition, it's absolutely fabulous, because it's all about the babies that have been born, including my grandson Milo. But that's beside the point. We have dads that have done IVF, and they wouldn't be dads unless we were there to give them a grant, because, as you're aware, it's hugely expensive for fertility. And if you have CF and you haven't been, you're not that well, you're on disability. So you can't afford to be saving up the thousands it takes for fertility. So it changes your life completely. I mean, as everyone will agree, once you have a child. And it does give you another reason to fight CF as well. We have counselling. So it is a physical disease, affecting the lungs and really all of your internal organs. But living with the chronic illness does obviously have mental health consequences, be it anxiety, a time of sickness, or through all of the variants right up to depression. So we give counselling support. So you've got kind of the good, the bad, and we try and support everyone in whatever is the issues within the family.
Now, Ken, at the start you mentioned your cousin who suffers with CF. How's he or she?
He's doing good. Yeah, he's working. He's doing good. His wife did the cycle with us last year. We grew up with Justin would have come to our house for holidays in the summertime. And as kids, you didn't really question it. Justin just came with a massive box of medication. And in fact, as much as I did know, only recently I discovered that it affects the digestive system. You always knew Justin had a cough. Justin takes tablets. But as a child, you don't really question it. But no, he's doing good. He's doing good. Actually, Justin used to do a lot of cycling with us when he was a child.
That's correct, yeah.
And in terms of the impact that, I suppose, even being around you doing this, does that help his confidence? Does it help his...
Oh, you don't need to help Justin's confidence. No, in fact, he told me to mention that he is the best cousin in the world.
Yeah. There you
We
go.
better give him a mention.
Best looking as well. There you go.
Oh God, that's a lot. That's a tall order to live up to. Well, listen, thank you so much for coming in. I really appreciate you coming in. I suppose just finally, just as we sign off, if people want to make a donation to either your fundraiser or to the charity itself, we'll put all those links in the description below. Please support, particularly if you know someone or affected by someone with CF or just want to make an impact in someone else's life. Please get involved and support the lads. Come out to Carthy's Saturday week, the 22nd of February. There'll be a bit of music. The standard of the music is a bit questionable because I know Cormac's playing. But I have seen him before and I was impressed. So
he knows 3 chords.
3 chords. Well, yeah. three is all you need. You throw in a fourth there, you're Ed Sheeran. You're grand, right?
Thanks.
So, 22nd of February, Leitrim Village, Carthy's Bar, Lock 17 there beside the bridge. The very best luck on the night and the very best luck on the cycle. Get a good pair of cycling shorts. That's all I can say. To Ken, to Caroline, and also to Cormac, who, despite his shyness, did come in and have a little bit of a chat with us. Thanks very much for popping in.
Thank you.
Thanks, Million.
Thanks, Reverend.
Of course, this was an episode of In Focus here on Leitrim Daily, brought to you in association with James McDowell Health and Fitness. I will be back with you tomorrow, where we'll be looking at the rural social scheme down in Drumshanbo with the Leitrim Development Company. Talk to you then.